Hey everyone, thanks as always for tuning in. Videos have been pretty sparse lately. I have been very busy just with life and work. And it took something quite exciting for me to kind of get off my butt and film another video. And that is this new model from Craig Brown of Brown Knives called the FSD. So let's take a look at this one. Again, I think it's really interesting. I did post kind of a quick video on Instagram and it got a lot of attention, a lot of saves, a lot of shares, a lot of comments. So I know a lot of you guys are excited about this one. So let's get just the standard box out of the way here and let's take a look at the FSD. Now, a couple of things make this special as compared to his other models. Namely, he designed a proprietary locking mechanism. We have a full custom pivot, just some beautiful machining, some really thoughtful design input, and this is certainly one of his larger knives here. So we will jump into the specs. We'll talk about what makes this one special, but you know, I've had a number of his designs, the parabolic, the servo. I still have my LHC-X here, which again, a beautifully executed frame lock, but you know, there's a lot of frame locks out there in the marketplace, and again, this one's exceptionally well done, but the unique mechanism here for the lock certainly takes that up a notch and makes this special. It's certainly more descriptive, or helps you kind of understand the maker a little bit better. So let's take a look at some specs, and we will talk about the lock in a little bit too, but we've got the Para 2 here for comparison and size. We have the Kershaw Dividend here, and then we'll just throw in the LHC-X here as well. Assuming I can get it in camera, that would help, right? Alright, so the specs here. So looking at a blade length of roughly 3.85 inches, handle length of about 4.9, overall about 8.75, does weigh in at 5 ounces, so you know, it's a larger, heavier knife, a full titanium frame. You know, you guys kind of get the picture here. The blade stock is coming in at 152 thousandths, and the thickness behind the edge is an impressive about 15 thousandths. So this is a hollow grind. These are hand ground, and yeah, he made this thing super duper thin behind the edge, which again will excite some of you guys, but if you are perhaps overly abusive, then an edge this thin may not be a smart idea for you. But you know, the reality is when people are buying these limited production / custom knives, whatever you want to call them, in the almost $800 price point to start out with, by and large they understand how to use the knife properly, and they usually aren't doing dumb things that break them, or so Craig hopes. I guess we'll find out. But starting price of about $775 depending on the blade steel that you choose, and then the options can kind of go from there. He's talked about potentially doing some DLC coated blades in the future. The blade steels offered are 154 or 20 CV. This one is done in CPM 154, so not 154 CM, but CPM 154. This model number is 000, and then the blade steel is designated there. So if this was the 20 CV blade steel, it would be 000 and the number 20. So yeah. All right, let's get some of these out of the way here, and let's dive into the details on this one, which I know you guys are excited about. So first, let's just do a close-up here. All the really nice handle milling. Everything is masterfully chamfered. You can see here up around where the flipper tab is, that very subdued flipper tab. There's some additional jimping here at the front of the knife, which, you know, lets you kind of get a little bit more purchase here if you're choking up on it. Let's look around the back. Can't get anywhere near the cutting edge of the blade. There's adequate space there. Back spacer, perfectly integrated into the design. Centering's good. Let's look at this pocket clip. Underneath, let's see if we can read it. It does say Blaine, Washington, USA, because he is based in Blaine, Washington, and it was left perfectly flat underneath that pocket clip. So it goes in and out of the pocket. One thing, when I saw this knife, even when I took it out of the box, I'm like, ugh, God, that pocket clip's not going to work. But I was wrong. It works beautifully. There's adequate spacing, even for thicker pocket edges. It goes in and out of the pocket really well. It's got the perfect amount of tension. So really well executed pocket clip. Very, very well done. And depending on the angle, I mean, it just about disappears into that handle, at least with this mill pattern. There are two different mill patterns. One is just kind of these larger lines, and then you have this one a little bit more intricate. So yeah, those are some of the details. Let's look at that custom pivot here, of course, with his logo. There's the jimping on the flipper tab. Now, one challenge or thing that I talked about with Craig was perhaps putting a little bit more jimping around the edge of the tab. If you're lazy and not getting like a full grip on it, you could slip, but you get a full, proper grip on it, and you're not going to slip. So, yeah. And then obviously this is the lock mechanism here. So let's take a look and stare at this. So some of you guys might be like, oh, that's just like the Spyderco smock, basically the compression lock type of lock, but it has a button on one side. And, the primary difference is that Craig did not base his design on the compression lock or any variation thereof. Craig likes to kind of design and avoid. He doesn't want to be influenced by anything, and so after he designed this, he went out, looked around to make sure nothing else was out there like it, and it's not. On his Instagram, he actually uploaded a 7-minute video kind of going into the nuance of the locking mechanism. On his website, he also has pictures of how it works, but as he said, the language on the compression lock talks about the stop pin being an integral part of the way that this lock functions. Now with Craig's design here, let's see if I can show you guys. Do you guys see how there's kind of a large cutout here in between the flipper tab and I guess the tang of the blade? Well, his locking arm pops up into that gap there and makes contact on both the front and the back, so it's sandwiched in there, and there's 2 points of contact on this lock mechanism, which again should make it more than substantially strong for normal use, and but it's characteristically it's completely different from the compression lock. Although in the sense that there is a button you push and it disengages the lock, well, sure, I guess it's kind of like the Spyderco Smock in that sense alone. So anyways, that's how the lock works at a high level. Go watch his Instagram video. You don't have to have an Instagram account to watch it, but he'll go on or into the nuance of the lock a little bit more. So opening methods, another important consideration. So we do have the flipper tab with jimping, works really well. Let's watch that lock disengage real quick. Two other important things while we're here. When the knife is closed, obviously the button here is pretty far down. It did not actuate in my pocket at all. So you can kind of see that's the degree right there. When the knife is open, the lock actually sits up a bit higher, so it's even easier to disengage. So again, just a nuance, a small detail there. Anyways, so we've got the flipper tab. You can front flip this thing just like that, and then there's this fuller in the blade here for your spidey flick or middle finger flick, as it's called, and then you can use your thumb as well, or kind of in one sense you can just push down on the lock and swing it open. So not that, I mean, it works. Not my favorite method. I really like the middle finger flick, but you guys get the point. So, all right, now we need to look at the blade. Again, this one is hand ground. He developed some jigs, of course, to try to make it as consistent as possible, but it is a hand ground blade as compared to his other models, which were flat ground. So again, some of you guys are going to be really excited about this very, very thin hollow ground blade. I don't know if you guys ever listen to the sound of... Anyways, some of you guys, if you kind of run your thumb along a kitchen knife versus like a folder, you can hear that you know, cliche but kind of hollow noise that resonates off of a really thin ground blade. So yeah. So in the opening, you do have some of that jimping running along the top. Gives it a little bit more grip. Ergonomically, very grip neutral, very comfortable in hand. I've got an XL glove right here. Fits perfectly in my hand. No hot spots whatsoever. None on the pocket clip. You know, just really well chamfered knife overall. Flipping action is really good. His detent is tunable to him, and that way he can fine-tune the action of every knife. In theory, you could tune it yourself, but he's hoping that you won't, because, you know, you'll probably do something wrong in there. But it was designed as an option to give him more control and consistency with the knives. So yeah, let me think of what else there is to talk about with this one. Double check my notes here real quick. How to get him. So he's currently still doing kind of batch drops on his website. He does have a subscriber list or email list, and that's who the notifications go out to of, hey, drops coming up at this time on my website. So if you do want to get one, definitely want to subscribe to his email list that's on his website. That's the best way to stay abreast of information. Other than that, yeah, honestly, I think this is his best model yet. It's the most unique to him as a maker. Everything on it is done by him and custom. I'll pick one up down the line. You know, with Craig, he's very, very serious about continuous quality improvement, CQI as it's called, in the manufacturing world, and so he can't really sit around for long without finding something he wants to slightly improve or slightly tweak to make it better. So, you know, I always like to be the first to get one, but at the same time with Craig, the longer you wait, kind of the more nuanced changes there might be in any given model. So he may offer more milling patterns. Looking forward to some DLC coated blades at some point. You know, maybe a little bit more jimping on the flipper tab. But again, kind of starting at that $775 price point. Ton of value here for what you're getting, and you're getting really consistent, really good manufacturing, and it's all done by him in his home in Blaine, Washington. So good guy to support. I think he does a good job. I think he's really good at communication, and I know his customers have been happy since the first model all the way up till now. So anyways, guys, we'll leave it there. Comments, questions, well, I'd probably ask Craig. He'd be a better place to go to. He's got his website, he's got his email list, he's got Instagram, so a lot of ways to get in contact with him. But hopefully you guys enjoyed taking a look at this video. There'll be more videos that kind of come out here over the next few months as things come out that I'm really excited about, or you know, I still have some videos that I would like to get to kind of on my backlog, you know, Rockstead videos, some other things, just a matter of time and energy and enthusiasm. So we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. See you guys.